The neighborhood was quiet and peaceful. It was the kind of place where families like to live. The houses were neat, and the trees made the streets look beautiful. People said hello to each other when they met. It was a safe place for children to play outside and for neighbors to enjoy friendly talks. Among the families living there was one special family. They had a young son who was disabled. He could not walk or run like other children, but he was full of joy. His smile could light up a room, and his laughter was soft but very happy. The boy's parents loved him very much. They worked hard to make sure he felt safe and happy. Even though he had challenges, the family made sure he spent time outside. They believed the fresh air and sunshine would help him feel good. They often took him to the park or just sat with him on their front porch so he could see the world around him. Their home was full of love, and their neighbors knew them as kind and caring people. For many years, the neighborhood stayed calm. People followed the rules and helped each other when needed. There was a homeowners association, or HOA for short. The HOA's job was to make sure the neighborhood stayed clean and organized. They made simple rules like keeping the grass cut and not parking cars in the wrong places. Most people thought the rules were fair and helped keep the community nice. One day, a new person joined the HOA board. Her name was Karen. From the start, Karen was different from the others. She was strict and serious. She liked to have control and followed the rules very carefully. Sometimes she was a little too firm. When she saw something that she thought was wrong, she acted quickly. People began to call her HOA Karen because she reminded them of the stories. It's about people who were very strict and hard to please at first. The family with the disabled son did not have any problems with Karen, but soon, small things started to happen. Karen noticed the boy's wheelchair parked on the sidewalk sometimes. She said it blocked the path and told the family to move it. The parents explained that the wheelchair was important for their son and that it needed to be nearby. Karen said the rule was the rule. She was serious about it. The family tried to follow Karen's orders as best as they could, but Karen kept finding new reasons to complain. She said the boy's parents did not keep the front yard perfect. She said the family's car was parked wrong. Sometimes she talked to the neighbors about these things, making the family feel watched and judged. The boy's parents were hurt and confused. They loved their home and did their best to follow the rules. They thought Karen was being too harsh, but they did not want to make trouble. The neighbors began to notice the tension. Some people felt sorry for the family because Karen was so strict. Others thought Karen was just trying to keep the neighborhood nice. Still more small conflicts appeared. One neighbor saw Karen speaking loudly and pointing fingers during a meeting. She was very angry about small rule breaks, even when they did not hurt anyone. One afternoon, the boy's parents took him outside. The sun was shining, and the boy was happy to feel the warmth on his face. He smiled at the birds and watched the leaves move in the wind. His parents were glad to see him enjoying the moment. Suddenly, Karen appeared nearby. She looked upset and said the boy's family was breaking the HOA rules again. She said the boy was making too much noise and disturbing the peace. The parents were shocked. They told Karen the boy was not loud and was just enjoying the day. Karen did not listen. She raised her voice and told the family to stop what they were doing. She said she would call the police if they did not obey. The boy's parents tried to explain that the boy was disabled and did not mean to cause any problems. Karen ignored their words and kept complaining. The neighbors watched in silence. Some wanted to help, but they were unsure what to do. This moment changed everything. The family started to feel scared in their own home. They worried about Karen's anger and what she might do next. The boy did not understand why people were upset. He just wanted to be outside and feel happy. The family began to limit their outdoor time, afraid of more conflicts. The neighborhood's peace started to fade. The parents talked to their friends and family about the problems. They shared how Karen's behavior was hurting them and making life difficult. Everyone was worried for the boy and the family. They knew something had to be done. The parents hoped that talking to the HOA would help. But Karen was firm and did not want to change. The family also contacted the local authorities to understand their rights. They learned that people with disabilities have special protections. The law said that the family should be able to enjoy their home without unfair treatment. This gave the parents some hope. They decided to stand up for themselves and their son. At the same time, the neighborhood started to divide. Some people supported Karen and said rules must be followed strictly. Others stood with the family and wanted Karen to be more understanding. The peaceful community was now full of quiet worries and secret talks. Through all this, the disabled boy remained innocent and joyful. He did not know about the troubles or the anger, only knew the kindness from his parents and the love from the neighbors who cared. His family promised to protect him no matter what. They believed that one day the neighborhood could be safe and friendly again. This was just the beginning of a story that would change the lives of many. It was a story about fairness, courage, and love. The family was ready to face what was coming, holding hope in their hearts and strength in their spirits. The peaceful neighborhood had already started to change. Family with the disabled son felt more and more nervous every day. Karen, the strict HOA member, kept watching them closely. She seemed angry about small things, but the family believed there was something more behind her behavior. Maybe she did not understand their son's needs or was too focused on rules without thinking about kindness. One warm afternoon, the family decided to take their son outside again. The boy loved feeling the soft breeze on his face and watching the clouds float by. His parents wanted him to enjoy nature, even if it was only for a little while. They carefully wheeled him to the front yard, smiling and laughing softly with him. The neighbors noticed and gave kind smiles, hoping the family would find some peace. But Karen was nearby. She saw the family and immediately walked toward them with a serious look. Her voice was loud and sharp when she spoke. She told the parents they were breaking the HOA rules again. She said the boy's wheelchair was blocking the sidewalk and that the noise disturbed other neighbors. The boy's parents tried to explain calmly that the wheelchair was necessary and parked in a safe spot. They also said their son was not making noise on purpose, but Karen did not listen. The argument between Karen and the family grew louder. Some neighbors came out of their homes, curious about the commotion. The boy's mother asked Karen politely to understand their situation. She explained how hard it was to care for their son and how much it meant to him to be outside. Karen did not respond with kindness. Instead, she said she would call the police if they did not follow the rules immediately. The parents felt a heavy sadness. They had always wanted to be good neighbors and respected the community, but now they were being treated unfairly because of their son's disability. The boy did not understand why people were upset, but he could see his parents were worried. They gently held his hand, hoping to calm him. The police arrived soon after. The neighbors watched quietly as officers spoke with Karen and the family. The officers listened carefully. They asked questions about what had happened and the rules of the HOA. The boy's parents shared their side of the story and explained the special needs of their son. The officers nodded, understanding that the family had the right to care for their son and enjoy their home. Still, the presence of police made the family nervous. The boy started to cry softly, sensing the tension in the air. His parents comforted him, whispering soothing words. The officers talked calmly with Karen too. They told her that while rules are important, people must also be kind and understanding, especially with families who have special needs. Karen was quiet for a moment. Then she said she was only trying to keep the neighborhood safe and clean. She felt responsible for making sure everyone followed the rules. The officers explained that rules should never hurt or scare people. They suggested Karen find better ways to communicate with her neighbors. After the police left, the family was left with mixed feelings. They were glad the situation did not get worse, but they were also worried about what might happen next. Boy's parents knew Karen could return with more complaints. They decided to ask for help. They reached out to local groups that support people with disabilities. These groups gave them advice about their rights and how to handle difficult neighbors. The family learned that the law protects people from unfair treatment, especially when it involves disabilities. This knowledge gave them hope and strength. At the same time, the family talked with their relatives. One cousin in particular was very concerned. He was a calm and strong man with experience in the military. He had worked as a sniper, someone who can stay calm in tense moments and protect people. The cousin promised to help the family and keep an eye on things. As the days passed, the family tried to live as normally as possible, but the fear stayed. Karen's anger seemed to grow, and small things turned into bigger problems. She started asking the HOA to fine the family for things that were not clear rules. She said the family was making the neighborhood unsafe. The boy's parents were shocked and felt alone. The neighbors also began to take sides. Some thought Karen was right to be strict, while others felt she was being unfair and harsh. The family found comfort in a few neighbors who supported them quietly. These friends offered help and kind words. One day, Karen took a serious step. She reported to the HOA board that the family was ignoring warnings and making the neighborhood dangerous. The board called a meeting. The family was invited to explain their side. The parents were nervous but knew they had to be strong. At the meeting, Karen spoke loudly and clearly. She shared her complaints and said the family was breaking important rules. She said their son's needs did not excuse them from following the HOA guidelines. Parents listened carefully and waited for their turn to speak. When it was their turn, the family explained how they tried to follow the rules as best as possible. Talked about their son's disability and how it made some things harder for them. They asked the HOA to understand their situation and help find a way for everyone to live peacefully. They asked for kindness, not punishment. The meeting was tense. Some HOA members nodded in understanding, but others seemed unsure. The family left the meeting feeling mixed emotions. They had spoken honestly, but they did not know if it would change anything. That night, the family talked about what had happened. The boy's parents promised to protect him and each other no matter what. The cousin, the calm and strong sniper, promised to watch over the family and help keep them safe. The story of the family and Karen was no longer just about a neighborhood dispute. It had become a test of kindness, understanding, and respect. The family hoped for a peaceful future, but they knew the road would be difficult. Even in the hardest moments, the disabled boy smiled and laughed. His spirit was strong, and his family's love was his shield. Together, they prepared to face whatever challenges were ahead, hoping that one day the neighborhood could be the safe, friendly place it once was. The family's troubles were growing. The boy's parents felt more and more pressure every day. Karen, the strict HOA member, continued to make life difficult for them. But now, the family had an important Olathe cousin who had come to help. He was a calm man with a special skill. He had been trained as a sniper in the military. This meant he was very patient, careful, and could stay calm, even in hard situations. He was also protective and wanted to keep the family safe. When the cousin arrived at the family's home, he looked around carefully. He saw the worried faces of the parents and the bright eyes of the boy. He promised to do his best to help. The family felt stronger with him nearby. They knew he understood how to handle difficult problems. The cousin talked with the parents about how to stay safe and calm. He told them that sometimes people act out of fear or anger, but the best way to face problems is with patience and wisdom. He said he would speak with Karen and the HOA to find peaceful solutions. The family hoped that with his help, things would get better. However, soon the family learned that the authorities were paying close attention to Karen and also to the cousin. Because of the cousin's military background, he legally owned a special gun. It was a high-powered rifle, a tool he had used in his work to protect people. He kept it carefully and safely, only for emergencies. When the authorities heard about the conflicts in the neighborhood and Karen's complaints, they also looked into the cousin's gun. They wanted to be sure that everyone was safe. So for a time, they took the cousin's rifle from him. This made the family worried again. They did not want any trouble with the law. They knew their cousin was responsible and careful, but they also understood why the authorities had to check. The cousin stayed calm. He explained everything clearly to the police. He showed his legal papers and told them how he used the rifle, only for protection. The officers listened and were polite. They said they would return the gun soon after making sure all was in order. Meanwhile, the family faced many questions from neighbors and friends. Some people were curious about the cousin and his gun, others worried about the conflicts. The family tried to answer as honestly as possible. They wanted everyone to understand that they only wanted peace and safety. The boy, aware of the troubles around him, still smiled and laughed. His parents focused on giving him love and comfort. They took him on small walks and made sure he felt happy. The cousin helped too. He built ramps and made the home safer for the boy. He also talked with the neighbors to explain the families sighed. One afternoon, the cousin decided to meet Karen. He wanted to find a way to stop the fights and bring peace. He called her and asked if they could talk. Karen was surprised but agreed. They met at a quiet cafe in the neighborhood. The cousin spoke gently and respectfully, told Karen about the family's struggles and the boy's needs, explained how much the family wanted to live peacefully and follow the rules as best as they could. Karen listened, but still seemed serious. Karen said she felt responsible for the neighborhood and wanted to keep it safe and clean. She said rules were important, but she was willing to listen. The cousin asked her to try to understand the family's situation better, and to be patient. He promised that the family would also try to respect the community. The talk was a small step, but it was important. Both sides began to see that fighting would not help. Cousin kept trying to build bridges and calm the situation. Back at home, the family waited for news about the cousin's gun. Finally, after checks and conversations with the police, the gun was returned. The cousin promised to keep it locked safely and only use it if absolutely necessary. The family felt relieved. They hoped the return of the gun would mean fewer worries and more peace. But the challenges did not end. Karen still made complaints, and the HOA continued to pressure the family. The boy's parents were tired but did not give up. They kept standing for their son's rights and their family's safety. The neighborhood was watching. Some neighbors supported Karen and the strict rules. Others sympathized with the family and wanted kindness to win. The family knew they were not alone. Through all the difficulties, the cousin stayed close. His calm presence helped the family stay strong. He helped them find the courage to keep going, even when things were hard. The boy continued to bring joy to everyone who knew him. His smile reminded the family why they must keep fighting for peace, for kindness, and for the right to live without fear. This part of the story shows how difficult situations can grow complicated, but also how courage and understanding can help people face challenges together. The family learned that help can come from unexpected places, and that even when things seem dark, hope can shine through. The family faced many challenges as they tried to find justice and peace. They wanted the community to understand their situation and to respect their son's needs, but the road was not easy. The homeowners association, with Karen as a strong voice, continued to make life hard for them. The family knew they had to be patient and strong. They decided to ask for help from the local government and legal experts who worked to protect people's rights. The family met with a kind lawyer who listened carefully. The lawyer explained that people with disabilities have important protections under the law. The family learned about these rules and felt encouraged, understood that they could ask for fairness and safety without being afraid. At the same time, family reached out to groups that support families with special needs. These groups gave advice and helped them find ways to talk with the HOA and neighbors. The family shared their story to help others understand how hard life could be when people were not kind or patient. The community began to pay attention. Some neighbors started to see the family's struggles in a new light. They offered support and spoke up for kindness. Others were still unsure, but the conversation had begun. The family and their cousin, the calm sniper, worked together to prepare for a big meeting with the HOA. They wanted to share their story clearly, to ask for changes that would help everyone live peacefully. They hoped the HOA would listen and find better ways to handle problems. On the day of the meeting, many people came. Some were neighbors, some were friends, and others were people from the support groups. The family spoke with courage and honesty. They talked about their disabled son and the challenges he faced every day. They explained how important it was to have kindness and understanding in the community. Karen also spoke at the meeting. She shared her concerns about rules and order, but this time she listened more carefully to the family's words. The meeting was long and sometimes difficult, but it was also a chance for everyone to hear each other. The HOA members talked among themselves. They realized that rules should help, not hurt, the people in the neighborhood. They agreed to make some changes. These changes would allow the family more freedom to care for their son and would encourage neighbors to be more supportive. The family felt hopeful. It was a small victory, but it meant a lot. They knew that change takes time, but they were ready to keep trying. Meanwhile, the cousin continued to help. He worked with the family to make their home safer and more comfortable for the boy. He also taught the family how to stay calm and strong in difficult moments. His presence was a source of peace and confidence. The family's story spread beyond the neighborhood. Local news shared their experience, and more people learned about the importance of kindness and respect. The family hoped that their story would help others facing similar challenges. Slowly, the neighborhood started to change. The atmosphere became warmer. Some neighbors who were once unsure now showed kindness and support. The boy could play outside more often, and his parents felt less fear. Karen's attitude also began to soften. She still cared deeply about rules, but she understood the need for compassion. She worked with the family and the HOA to create a safer and more welcoming community. The family's journey was not easy, but it showed the power of courage and love. They faced many obstacles, but they never gave up. Their hope for peace and kindness kept them strong. In the end, the family learned that even in difficult times, people can come together to make things better. Their son's smile was a reminder that love and understanding are the most important rules of all. After the difficult times the family had gone through, things slowly began to change for the better. The neighborhood, once filled with tension and worry, started to feel a little warmer. People who had been distant or unsure began to show kindness and understanding. The family's hope grew stronger each day. The boy, who had faced so many challenges, began to enjoy his time outside more. His parents made sure he felt safe and happy. They spent afternoons on the porch watching the birds and feeling the gentle breeze. Neighbors sometimes came by to say hello or bring small gifts. These simple acts of kindness meant a lot to the family. The cousin, calm and patient man who had come to help, stayed close. He continued to support the family in many ways. Helped make the house easier for the boy to live in. He also talked with neighbors to encourage respect and understanding. The cousin's quiet strength gave the family confidence. Karen, the strict HOA member, also changed. She saw how her actions had caused pain and confusion. With time, she learned to listen and be more patient. She began working with the family and other neighbors to find better ways to keep the community peaceful and fair. Karen's change was important. It showed that even people who seem tough can open their hearts. The HOA made new rules that were kinder and more flexible. They focused on helping families, especially those with special needs. The community started programs to support neighbors and build friendships. These changes made the neighborhood a better place for everyone. The family's story inspired others. People learned about the importance of kindness, patience, and respect. The boy's smile became a symbol of hope. He showed that even when life is hard, love can shine through. The family felt grateful for the support they had received. They knew that challenges might still come, but they were ready. Together, with their cousin and their neighbors, they believed they could face anything. One day, the family held a small celebration. They invited neighbors and friends to their home. The boy was happy to see so many smiling faces. There was laughter and music, and the air was filled with joy. It was a moment of peace and togetherness. The family's journey had taught them many things. They learned that rules are important but must be balanced with kindness. They saw how love and patience could heal wounds. And they discovered that a community can become stronger when people care for each other. As the sun set that evening, the family sat together. They looked at the stars and felt hopeful for the future. Their son, still full of joy, rested peacefully. The family knew that no matter what happens, their love would protect them. This story reminds us all that even in the hardest times, there is hope. It teaches us to be kind and understanding, to stand up for what is right, and to believe in the power of love. The family's courage and strength changed not only their lives, but also their whole community, and so the neighborhood that once faced trouble became a place of warmth and friendship. It was a place where every child could play safely and every family could feel at home.